morning. My name is Mo. I'm the president of the fellowship this year. Come, whoever you are, holding various beliefs, whatever your abilities, whatever your skin color, whatever your age or gender identity, whomever you love. You are welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Statesboro. You are welcome in this, our religious home. We extend a warm welcome to any visitors or guests this morning. If you'd like to take a moment to introduce yourself, you are welcome to now. But you also don't have to. We hope you have given or will give us some contact info for our guest registry, which is near the front, and Mary is in charge of that. Or you can find more information about us on our webpage at uustatesboro.org. For the month of May, half of our offering that is not designated as a pledge will be shared with Fostering Bullet. Thank you for sharing your resources with us later in the service during our offering. Now I invite you to join with me in our congregational affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our worship leader this morning is Sherry.
Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you to Owen for the lovely prelude. Thank you. It's always good to be together, whether we're a big crowd or just a few of us. We're here together in our church home on Sunday morning. It feels good to be here with you. We will begin the service as we always do with the lighting of our chalice. I'll come and ask you to help me say the reading as I light the chalice. Once the chalice is lit, sound the note, and we will rise up together and sing twice. Rise up, our flame. This is
The
our
chalice of love and light, uniting us all by day and night. Rise up, O flame, my light glory, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, my light glory, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Thank you. And while we're standing, let's honor the light within by greeting those nearby.
How are you feeling? Hey, how are you? No, we got in yesterday. I brought you something from Ukraine.
Good morning, it's across the room.
Morning. How it going? Well, sir. Good to see you.
It's time for the story for all ages, and I'm glad Marcy brought it here to see the pictures. This is called Sophie and the Mother's Day Card. I don't know how y'all feel about stories where animals, we pretend that animals look like people and talk and go to school and wear clothes, but it's one of those, so that's what we're doing today. It was coming up on Mother's Day, and everybody in Mrs. Badger's class had made a card. Sophie Rabbit was so very proud of hers. It had a daffodil stuck on the front. She had made the daffodil with yellow paper and a little part of an egg carton. There were butterflies and flowers she had drawn around it on the border, and inside, in her very best handwriting, she put "To Mom," with lots of love from Sophie. The card had taken her ages to make, so she was very proud of it. "That's a good daffodil," said Trevor. Trevor Otter was the new boy in class. She didn't really know him yet. He was big and kind of noisy. "I can do daffodils," said Trevor. Sophie looked. It was true. Trevor's card was a complete mess. "I'm good at being an airplane, though," said Trevor, and went zooming off across the room. At quiet time, Sophie ran to get her card and got a nasty shock. The card was there, but where was her daffodil? Someone had torn it off. What a mess it was now. Poor Sophie, 2 big tears trickled out of her eyes. Mrs. Badger came up and saw it. Teacher, "Oh dear, whatever happened?" Sophie showed her the card. "What a shame, Sophie, and it was such a lovely card, too." Teacher, Miss Badger, was sorry, but they didn't know what happened. Out by the gate, Sophie's dad was waiting to walk her home. "Did you have a bad day, Soph?" "It was awful," said Sophie. "Somebody ripped the daffodil off Mom's card. Look, I have nothing to give her for Mother's Day now." "Oh dear," George Rabbit looked grave. That is a pity. Can't you make another one?" "No, there's no time and I don't have all the supplies to make it." "Well, let's walk the long way home. Maybe the walk will cheer you up." But Daddy was waiting. They had to talk. Then they started walking home. The long way home lay through the woods. The birds sang and the spring breezes rustled around them. But Sophie couldn't stop thinking about her ruined card and how it had spoiled Mother's Day. George Rabbit stopped at a mossy bank. "Look, Soph, they're primroses. Did you know they're your mom's favorite flower? I think I might have an idea about that Mother's Day gift." Mother's Day dawned warm and sunny. For once, Baby Gareth slept late, so Mrs. Rabbit had breakfast in bed for a treat. She was sipping her carrot juice when Sam and Louise, the older brother and sister, came running in with their presents. "It's a picnic basket," exclaimed Louise, jumping over the bed. "I wove it, and it has a special place to put the salad dressing." "Amazing," said Mrs. Rabbit. Sam said proudly, "And I made you this clay pot to put flowers in." "Oh, it's beautiful," marveled Mrs. Rabbit, looking at the older children's gifts for her. Then it was Sophie's turn. She stepped forward and held out a tiny bouquet of pale yellow primroses. The pretty homemade gift tag that she had put on it said, "To Mom, with lots of love from Sophie." "Oh, Sophie," said Miss Rabbit, "the first primroses of spring. How did you know that I like primroses the very best of all? Do you like them as much as daffodils?" asked Sophie. "Oh, more," said Mrs. Rabbit, and gave her a huge hug. So Mama Rabbit was happy with her Mother's Day gift. They went out and had a perfect Mother's Day picnic. And then the next day, Soph went back to school. Come on in, Elena. I'm telling a story about Sophie. She made a Mother's Day card for Mother's Day, but when she went to take it home, somebody had torn it off for her. But she found some pretty flowers and picked and gave to her mother instead. And she was very happy with it. Then they went on a picnic and had carrot cake on Mother's Day. And then the next day, she went back to school. Mrs. Rabbit and Mrs. Otter, Trevor's mom, were chatting on the playground. Miss Rabbit said, "Did you have a good Mother's Day?" "Oh, I certainly did," said Mrs. Otter. "My Trevor made me a card, and it had the loveliest daffodil on the front of it. It must have taken him ages to make that. He's usually only interested in airplanes, so I was really pleased." Sophie looked at Trevor Otter. Trevor looked ashamed. "I'd like to talk with you over here, please," said Sophie. Can you see Trevor Otter? He's looking kind of embarrassed. What do you think happened? Maybe. Let's see. Hey, that's what she's thinking. "Well," said Sophie when they were out of earshot of his mom, "what have you got to say for yourself?" Trevor couldn't meet her eyes. He hung his head. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know I shouldn't have done it. I just wanted to please my mom. Are you going to tell on me?" Sophie looked at Trevor. For some reason, he didn't look as big as he usually did. "No," said Sophie, "I won't tell." Just then the bell rang. "Come on," said Sophie, grasping him by the paw. "You're going to sit by me this morning, and at art time, I'm going to help you make a daffodil so you can make your own next time." "Really? Thanks," said Trevor. "Do you think if we have time, we could maybe make a paper airplane too?" "We'll do both," smiled Sophie. "We'll make both." And they're running back inside because it's time for class. And that is exactly what they did. He showed her how to make the daffodil, and what else did they make?
A paper.
Yes, paper airplanes are fun to fly. Did y'all like that Mother's Day story? That's pretty good. Okay, let's stand up and do our affirmation. Remember, and hold our hands up for the U. First, we do the affirmation. So, hands up. We are
Unitarian, Universalist, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
And now we'll form our bridge and sing off to your place. Okay, we got to show you.
You shelter me, you warm our hearts, as you pass through. May our love guide you as you go, to help you learn and help you grow.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for loving me. One of many treats this morning. We have two pianists who are going to play for us. I want you to hear these words before our meditation time, and Jenny is going to come and play for our meditation time. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude. Taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence together. Mother's Day. Today we're going to hear from 6 of us about something about mothers or people who mothered them. I will welcome up to the podium in order. I'll go ahead and tell you, and y'all listen to the order and just come up one after the other. Some more time can be given to our speakers. We're going to start with John. John Martin is going to come up first and share with us, followed by Mary Angelo, after which Art Hendry will come to the podium, followed by Mike Fontaine. Then Adrian Cohen will come and share with us, and our final speaker this morning will be Rowan Alexander. So I invite you to come in that order and share with us, please.
Thank you, Sherry. Good morning. And to the moms in the congregation or listening online, happy Mother's Day. So I have a folder on my computer at home, which is an assemblage of photos that I'm preparing for my mother's imminent funeral. She's 91. She's in a nursing home. We're coming up on an unfortunate anniversary, which is now 2 years that she has been in hospice care. And she's been in the nursing home for 4 years. The last time that I visited her in Tampa back in late March, was the first time that I can genuinely say that I don't think she would recognize me. But this is a photo in happier times, about 57 years ago, when the little boy with a buzz cut still had a full head of hair. And I was going through the folders trying to think about what was significant about that time. Mom was a public school teacher. She was particularly a glutton for punishment, and that she spent 3 decades teaching 8th and 9th graders. She taught she was a vocational educator and taught home economics, so celebrations in life always came with cake. Coconut cake, hummingbird cake, chocolate cake. I need to go check my A1C. Anyway, this was some event. I don't know the significance of it, but I do know the significance in our overall family life. This would be about the time that my father was fired from the U.S. Postal Service because the reason they gave was he was unable to sit in a regulation postal sorter chair. Right before I was born, my father was injured in a workplace accident and suffered a severe back injury. And during my infancy, he went through 3 spinal surgeries that did not correct what was wrong with him. So about this time is when my mom became our primary breadwinner. And we've come a long way, baby, but at that point, the realizations of the role of women in the workplace, the role of women in society, women couldn't get credit cards at this point. My mother had a tremendous amount of pressure on her. And all I can say is, through the ensuing years of my father's life, he died when I was 16, my mother was widowed at 46, I was always the absolute center of her life. We celebrated with cake, but I never forgot how I was the center of her life. I was loved. And she fostered a love of learning and reading and the intellectual life that I take with me today. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
It's always a challenge to follow my husband. So this is my mother, Mary Lou. She's 87, lives in Tampa. She's in very good health, pretty good health. Most people say that they begin to appreciate their parents once they have kids. I have to say that I was really slow to that. I carried a lot of resentments for years for imagined stuff for the most part. Having to mother her for quite a few years when she was not able to really act as my mother, but we won't get into that. But it wasn't until our kids grew up, and they're in their 20s now, late 20s in some cases, in one case, and they started saying things like, well, Mom, why didn't you force me to try out for softball? Or Mom, why didn't you say this to this teacher when she said this? Or Mom, why did you do this? And I realized, wait a minute, because I'm a human being, I can't, I'm not superhuman, and mothers, I think, are put under enormous pressures in this society to be this, larger than life figure. And guess what? We're human. So, yeah, I'd like to thank my mom, and I think I've kind of gotten over myself over the years where I can really, truly appreciate it. I don't want to get upset, but she loved us and she protected us. She was not protected as a child. Nobody was there for her. Her father died when she was tiny. Her mother went away to be treated for tuberculosis for several years. She was left in the cold, and she was left with relatives who were uncaring and abusive. And she worked her tail off to protect us. She reminds me of a mother hen. She might peck you in the head and slap you with a wing, but if something, she had that instinct all the time. If something came after you or the hawk came down, she would kill it. She would be there. So, and that's, there's no replacing that. I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barb, and because of time constraints and nervousness, I'm going to semi-read my tribute to my mom, Gloria. So, I hope I need the mic. So, my mom grew up with her parents, her German grandmother, and her kid brother in Idlewild, New York, which is now JFK Airport. Her mom named her Gloria after the movie star Pierce Swanson. And unlike her daughter, Mom was a natural athlete. She played high school basketball and was a star catcher on a semi-professional softball team. During World War II, she worked for the Department of Defense and volunteered at the USO, where she danced with all the servicemen. She was quite a looker, pin-up girl type, and took great pleasure in beating them all at ping pong. She eventually married my dad, a handsome young sailor. But when the marriage faltered in the mid-1950s, she moved to Hialeah, Florida, when her company that she worked for relocated here. She supported my brother and me on a secretary's salary, supplemented by help from her relatives who took turns staying with us during the winter months. Our home was filled with love and laughter. It was the go-to place for our friends, a place they knew they were welcome to hang out, snag a meal. Mom had a remarkable zest for life and spirit of adventure. Even as a family of limited means, she would load us into the old Woody station wagon on weekends, and off we would go to the Everglades, the orange groves, the beaches. She later became a successful real estate broker, and after retirement was able to see more of the world, traveling widely in the U.S. and beyond, hiking in the Himalayas, mingling with penguins in Antarctica, walking on the Great Wall of China, fighting off a wild boar attack in Ecuador at age 65, going on photo safaris to Africa, her favorite destination. As her physical and cognitive health declined, my mom moved in with Mike and me for the last 10 years of her life. She was still delighted by the beauty of nature and certainly savored good food, good wine, and good company. She was not without pain, heartache, and loss in her life, including 2 disappointing husbands. But her resilient spirit remained to the end. Even when she was in pain and not feeling well, when folks called and asked her how she was doing, she would say, "Pretty good for an old broad." Mom's unconditional love has sustained me, and I am fortunate to have had this smart, funny, generous, life-loving woman as my mother. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I miss you.
Good morning, everyone. Picture of my mother when she was very young. We are the hopes and aspirations of our parents. If we as children grow up in a loving, generous, reasonably disciplined, with good advice household, and the parents do not pick favorites among the children, there's a good chance that what they taught us, we will pass on to others. I could talk about Mom and the lessons I learned from her over the 70 years that we shared our lives together. But I'm going to delve into her life before I was born, just to give you a sense of who she was as a person. Neil and Dino grew up in a New Hampshire farm in rural New Hampshire. They had no electricity. They had no running water. There was a pump outside with a handle. There was an outhouse out back. There was not even money for toilet paper. The Sears Roebuck catalog was the substitute. So you can imagine sitting in a cold outhouse, looking through the Sears catalog, dreaming of something you'd like to own, only to tear the sheet away and have it sent down the hole. They had no internal combustion engine, no car, no tractor. They had 2 horses and a hand plow. My mom had to walk several miles to school every day. And believe me, that was no small feat in a New Hampshire winter. But she had 2 great gifts. One was her mother, and one was that she was very smart. Clara, her mother, was determined that my mom was not going to end up in poverty like the family was. So she took in laundry from the townspeople to make extra money so that my mom could get a better education. And that was no small feat either, being that she didn't have a proper washing machine. After Mom finished high school, she went to, quote, business college. We'll call it secretarial school today. And she finished tops in the class, where she went on to work as a legal secretary. Some of those people that she worked for was a famous Norwegian explorer that wrote many books about the Arctic. She worked as secretary for the general that was in charge of the American forces in the Azores during World War II. She worked as a secretary for a lawyer that worked at the Nuremberg war trials. She got to see history in the making. But all in all, her past taught her to be thrifty and diligent. And she imparted that to us. And that parents saved money, and they were able to retire in their early 60s. They were now super wealthy. But they had enough money to have a house in the mountains and to have a double wide trailer in Florida. And they went back and forth that way for 20 years. and still had enough money. And my mother was in assisted living for quite a number of years in a very nice living place where she died at 101. And yet she left not only her personal moral legacy, but she also left a nice stipend to each of us 3 children to help us through our lives. All I can say is Happy Mother's Day and Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
It's a really nice picture that you can't see at all.
I would like to share about my mom, Lola Cohen. She died August 5th of 2021 at the age of 84. I have many stories that I could share about the woman that was a part of my life for nearly 60 years. I pulled together a few from the eulogy I read when she died. When I was in my early 30s, I went to a women's conference. At the conference, we had a chance to explore who we were as women. So many times during that conference, I thought about my mother and the role model that she was for me. This was really the first time that I realized how much my mom had influenced my life and how grateful I was for that influence. I remember that I wrote her a letter telling her all of this, and she called me and thanked me. It was really hard to hear her thanks for the letter because I myself was so grateful. My mother inspired me to care for other people, to attempt to be selfless rather than selfish. That took me a long time to learn, but for her, it was her true vocation. First with her parents and brother and sisters. When she was young, my grandfather was ill with tuberculosis, and she went to work at, rather than to nursing school because she knew her family needed her. Then she devoted her life to caring for my father, my sisters, and me. When we had no money, she made the dresses that made us look like we were children who were well cared for, and we were. When I got older, Mom volunteered, went to school to become a social worker, and then devoted her time to caring for other people who were struggling. She taught me the importance of having gratitude for what you have, but also the importance of using what you have to benefit others. Her journey and my journey have walked similar paths in that way. But she went first and gave me guidance and support, and for that I am more grateful than I can ever express. My mother was also a woman who cared about doing things with dignity and class. I remember she and my dad told us that they have this friend of hers, and when considering the best way to serve a meal or host a party, her friend would say, WWLD. What would Lola do? And so another way that my mother influenced my life was in the importance of aesthetics. The idea that outward appearances matter. She and my dad lived in a small coastal town outside of Boston for many years, and I remember her saying that she never got tired of the view of the harbor just outside the windows of her home. The beauty of the world around her, in her home, in her town, her life mattered to my mom. I was so grateful to have traveled with her, my aunt, and my cousin to Paris, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. To be there in Paris at the Louvre, to see so much art with the woman who taught me to love the beauty of the things of this world created by God or man has filled me with memories that I can hold on to now that I can no longer hold on to her. In her later years, her mobility became limited by a walker and oxygen. I was talking to her on the phone after the doctor's appointment where the doctor explained that she had COPD and would not be getting any better. She told me she felt relieved. She had been working so hard to get stronger, to get back to the level of mobility that she had before her last fall. Now that she knew that she would not be getting any better, she realized that she was not failing at her efforts. This was going to be the new normal. She told me that she had always wanted to spend a whole day just reading a book, and the day before she had done just that. I admire her acceptance. Sometimes winning a battle is about accepting rather than fighting. Those memories are now my hug, my hello on the phone, my I love you too. As I thought about life, what life would be like as I moved forward without her, the hardest thing for me is her inaccessibility. All my life, she was the one that I turned to when times were hard. When Mike became paralyzed, I used to call her and she would just listen to me. Just listen as I poured out my heart, my concerns, my fear. I remember once she told me that she felt bad that she could not be there for me when Mike got sick, since we were in Ohio and she was in Massachusetts, but she was there for me. She was a phone call away. She was my rock. I will always carry that rock around in my pocket, close to my heart. My parents' 50th wedding anniversary, I gave a toast. I said that my parents' marriage was like a dance, arm in arm, each with their own movements and yet together in one dance. I imagine them now, together in heaven, dancing up a storm, together again as they had been since they were children. And that still makes me smile.
I was going to put it on the slide, but then I didn't, so it's okay. Sorry, I typed it. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. I wasn't going to say anything at first, and then I kind of spoke to a lot of my friends, and a lot of the people that have been coming, but I've been getting to come, and they were all like, we're not going to come. It's a Mother's Day thing. And I was like, that's fair. And then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, why is no one here? And the writer and academic person, the scholar in me was like, I feel like maybe I should give a little context. So although it's my personal story, I think that as I'm speaking, it kind of gives a little insight as to why specifically a lot of the people that I bring and that I care about aren't in the room today. So this is already a really kind of awkward day for me because I think everyone here knows I'm trans. So my babies are my babies. I celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day because I've had to be both for a very long time, even before I transitioned. So, but when I think about Mother's Day, I think about my own mom and not myself. Like she was supposed to be in town today, and she had better things to do. But she usually does have better things to do. So when I graduated high school and went to Georgia Southern, I actually got dropped from all my classes really suddenly. And I spoke to all the people, and they're like, you know, it's an issue with like I guess you'd say like the legitimacy of your records. And after speaking to all these people, I found out that my mom, and she's very open about this, like if you know her, then you know. My mom was incarcerated for most of my childhood. When that happens, you're supposed to put in who's going to take care of your kid, right? You know, for the sake of custody. My mom did not. So growing up in a small town, my great-grandparents raised me, my grandparents raised me, and I just kind of got passed through the system until I got to college where things became very real. And in college, they explained to me that no one had guardianship over me, and legally, I was a ward of the state and had been a ward of the state since she was arrested. Even though she was home again, the proper documentation was never filed. So I almost got completely taken out of school and had to do all kinds of paperwork, get birth records. It was so much to be able to actually go to college because of everything. And I'm not trying to speak badly of her, because something I've been told, a professor ironically told me, we can only do the best with what we have. And we can only work within what we are capable of doing. And my mom does the best that she can. She might watch this, maybe, I don't know. But she knows that I love her. She's a great grandma. She does everything that she possibly can. But over the years, and she knows, who's really become a mother to me are several of the women that I've met in my life. And that's really what I want to focus on kind of today. When you're queer in America, and I can't speak for everyone, but I will speak for many of us that I've met, we don't have a mom and a dad. A lot of us are kicked out. My grandparents kicked me out when I was in 8th grade for finding out that I kissed a girl. And the people that got me through that were the mothers that had already taught me kissing girls and said, it's okay, we're not going to tell your parents. Or when I did get kicked out, my best friend's mom, who almost entirely spoke Spanish, so it took some adjusting, but she let me live with her because I had nowhere else to go. She knew that I'd been sleeping on couches and just trying to find a place to be. Or when my mom and I got into a big fight because I stayed out too late. And she told me that I could go live somewhere else if I want to do what I want to do. And I kindly told her, well, I've been doing that, and I left. And slept in my car until a friend was like, you can't sleep. That's not something you can do. And even the times, the women that I've met, my professors, that understood that I was working 2 to 3 jobs in college to support myself because my mom said that college is silly and you don't need that, so I'm not going to help you, and taking my car away. And this year, I've spoken a little bit about my job, but my job has been awful. And I've really struggled with a lot of adults in the building, ironically not the kids, being unhappy that there's a trans teacher in their building, and then further finding out that I'm gay, which to them was just really added to it for them. And who I had a picture of, and maybe she'll see this because I told her about it, a teacher I work with by the name of Miss Malika. She's really gotten me through everything. And I told her this morning, I sent her a message and told her that if I had to call anyone a mom, it would be her. She's helped me with my babies, the times that I've had where I don't know what to do. Our kids are very similar. The times that I've tried to walk out because I wanted to quit my job. And she was like, you can't quit. And she held my hand and said, why do you do this? I was like, for the kids. And she was like, we do it for the kids. Not just our students, but we do it for our babies. And without her, I know that I wouldn't have gotten through this year. And I finished a book last week. The name of it evades me. It's a new book by T.J. Flynn, and it's a really short novella. It's 140 pages, and it's about this elderly gay couple, and they found out that the world is ending, and the world's kind of in chaos. Like people are like just being wild because the world is ending, and they decide that they're going to go on one last road trip together. Like they're in their 70s, and they're like, we're gonna do this because they have, I think it's less than 2 weeks until the world ends. And they stop at one point, and they're speaking to a young couple that's noticed, and it's like, I'm so excited there's other queer people out here, can we go talk to you guys? And they take a second to say, we didn't have really good families, but do you know why it's LGBT and it used to be GLBT, which I did not know that. And they explained that it's because back during the AIDS crisis, it was the women, the lesbians, that would sit in the hospitals with the men and would stay there and take care of them. And in honor of that, it got switched to LGBT to represent those women. And it really made me think about the women in my life that have gotten me through everything and held my hand, and honestly have really just held the fort down for the queer community. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, whether you're a cis woman or
trans, and also to all those women that may not have children of their own, but have really taken that role and been there, like Miss Malika. And even Miss Heather, who came in the other day with me, her and her babies, she's helped me a lot. There's old people, Miss Adrian, who helps me with my children as well as they are coming in the middle of sermons sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our speakers for sharing touching, very Mother's Day stories and memories. We will have an opportunity. Now is the time for offering, which we will do. And then after that, at the start of Joys and Concerns, we will have an opportunity for all of us to name our mothers if you'd like to. But now is the time for the sharing of our gifts and pledges. And for today, anything in the offering plate that is not marked as a pledge and offering will go to foster and board. To those heroes among us who are willing to take in children they didn't raise, didn't birth, and care for them. We really need so. We'll be generous with that. And beautiful music. Received and appreciated, as is the music. Let's start our joys and concerns with a very brief naming ritual. I invite you to say aloud into this space the name of your mother. You can stand or sit, and I will offer the possibility of doing it by heritage, a way I've learned recently that appeals to me. I am Sherry, daughter of Betty, granddaughter of Leslie and Addie.
I am Betty. Betty Catherine Robin Smith, and the same ancestry as my sister's here.
I am Adrian, daughter of Lou, and granddaughter of Celia and Betty.
Yeah, you can do it too.
I am Michael, son of Rose. My grandmothers were Belmont and Verona.
I'm Inga Burton Spencer, daughter of Helena Rosach Ohio, granddaughter of Walburga Gröner, and Marie Hahn.
I'm Leon Stetson. My mother is Catherine Arcady, and I am the grandchild of two people, two women, Bridie and Eileen.
light this candle in honor and appreciation of all those names who were lifted and of all the people here and the mothers and those who mothered you carry in your hearts. We give thanks. We're over on time. Does anyone have a pressing joy or concern they'd like to share this morning? If so, come and light a candle or rise where you are, and I'll light one for you.
I'll just be real fast. My friend Steve that I've shared with is now home.
Yay.
Quick thank you to everybody who helped make Janice Hawthorne's celebration of life as wonderful as it was. Martha said specifically something that resonated with me. She said, it was so Janice, and it was. So thank you so much for everybody who people that heroic efforts for it. And she was somebody who mothered just about everybody that ever walked through those doors. So.
Because they give thanks for one another, for those who mothered us, and for this wonderful place to come together, the sacred space we share. It is our faith home. May it ever be so. Amen. And this again. So in closing, we will sing together, Rise as the River, the Healing Spirit of together, but the service will actually be at a Kennedy Pond Conservancy. I'm really excited about it. Bring food, it's a potluck picnic, and we will travel out there. We'll have a very brief gratitude ritual when we do together the Smile in our meeting, and then we will have lunch together and explore Kennedy Pond Conservancy. If you would like to bring a kayak or canoe, if you would like to rent one, it's only $15 an hour, but I need to know in advance. So let me know if you'd like to rent a kayak.
We want to meet here in the caravan.
Folks can meet here in caravan out. Some of us will go early, but there's a couple of picnic tables, I've set up some tents. There is a porta potty. I mean, this is rustic, but there is a porta potty. What other announcements can we share? I will remind y'all, or let you know that I'm really excited and pleased. Universalist is investigating, it's a commission of the city. We're investigating trying to become a more bike-friendly city, doing the things we can, the steps in that direction. One of them was getting next week declared as Bike Week in Statesboro. If you are able to bike to work and take a picture of yourself and post it, look at Facebook to see what the hashtag is. But you can do that on Friday. Saturday is a community bike ride. Anybody who's available has any kind of wheels, scooter, bike, e-bike, can meet at the trailhead the far end of the S&S Greenway Trail. We'll be out there at 10 o'clock and ride in to the other end near Howard Lumber and back again. Round trip is about 5 miles. So you can do any part of it that you like. We're also promoting the visibility bands. I didn't bring one in with me, but as y'all know, Betsy sponsored those in honor of our own Jim Nichols. And so we're getting those out there available at the police station and at City Hall. So more people hopefully will be able to walk near traffic or bike near traffic more safely, more visibly. Any other announcements?
Board meeting Tuesday, 7 p.m. Zoom.
And you're gonna post the link?
Yeah, I can email it out to people.
Okay. Email it or put it on Facebook page or something? Thank you. Yeah, we're in the process of getting a new Zoom link, but in the short term, we have one available through tomorrow. Thanks, ma'am. Board meeting 7 o'clock, please, or just, if there are no other announcements, we will say no guarantees, get some coffee, and come back and start watching us